My Bears fan.
Ooh, not a
Tree,
Bears fan.
watch out.
I can't help with that. Oh, jeez.
No, you would like it, I
Oops.
think. I think
Beep.
you'll like it. It's a new intro, like I told you.
Nice.
It was made by a Bears fan. Oh,
Bears fan. Well, at least they're happy now, ish.
We'll talk about that because I know they want to know your opinion about the whole thing.
Definitely.
Okay. Hi guys, you guys are watching the Mac and Cheese podcast. If you want to be a guest, please DM us on Twitter at MacPodcast323. Today's guest is a member of one of our followers in our first ever episode and is part of the Mac Clickbait Sports team and the Dumpster Fire show crew. I think I wrote. It's Urinating Tree. Their Twitter will be in the bio, so if you want to follow them there, please do. We are now partnered with Podcast Boys Network. Please follow them there, and their Twitter /X will be in the bio. Where you can find anything NFL and I believe 10 other shows now. Is the best.
Nice.
That's our new intro. It's shorter.
There you gotta do, man. Hey, you're moving on up in the world. How you two doing?
We're
doing great. Excited for the season and excited for how the draft picks will do for Green Bay. And I'm sure you're excited somewhat for how the draft will go. How would your draft go for the Steelers?
Absolutely. I was just curious about, like, for you guys with Jordan Morgan, because I know, like, you were looking tackle and cornerback, at least in the first round, because, like, the only chance would have been able to move up for Troy Fautanu, who the Steelers took. I mean, I'm hearing, like, Packers fans that like Jordan Morgan. I mean, it could be a reach, but, like, what do you think of his impact, like, day one?
Let's see. He could play multiple positions, so he's not just like guard or tackle. He could play right guard. He could play right tackle if needed due to injury. But it's like Jordan protecting Jordan. Jordan Morgan, Jordan Love, all that stuff. And it was just. But the draft pick I was most excited. The draft picks I was excited about the most was in the second round. Edgerrin Cooper and then Javon Bullard. Those are going to be two great guys on the defense.
Especially with day two picks, I mean, they can make immediate impact, especially second, third round. You hit big time.
And with the departure of Aaron Jones, I think that Marshawn Lloyd is going to be a great two option behind Josh Jacobs.
I mean, you did get A.J. Dillon back, so he's probably going to be your number two for this year.
Or fullback.
Yeah, that too. I feel like he will be an option, more or less.
Okay, Tree, I told you we would have Bears fans, and they're already rating us.
Oh, jeez.
Bears only had 5 picks.
This is one of them.
I mean, they already hit with their draft, if you think about it. Like, if you were to tell them back in October, November that they were going to end up with Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams, they would have been jumping for joy. They got Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams. It fell right into their lap. It filled their goals. So, I mean, at that point, I feel like the rest is just gravy. I mean, you've already filled out roles. You brought in Keenan Allen, his veteran influence. Your offensive line starting to mold together. You did need a center, but I think they've already filled that out as well. And defense, it's more or less just trying to piece that together. I mean, your defensive line's starting to come. Linebacking core is decent. Secondary, you did lose Eddie Jackson, but for the most part, it's just trying to mesh it together. I mean, if you don't win somehow with the talent you have now, your team's cursed and it should contract. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
because like there's no excuse right now. I mean, like Caleb Williams, like he's potentially generational with the way he's being talked about, and if he somehow flops, then it's, oh Lord, Green Bay is going to be dancing again.
Yes, for sure. So the Bears fan commented again. I don't know if you guys saw it. They said, yeah, all we needed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as I said, like that's pretty much like their first goal. Like they already had traded their second rounder for Montez Sweat. That's already success. You extended them long term. And then it's not like you traded a second rounder for Chase Claypool. And Buffalo, have fun with that. That's all I'm going to say.
I was gonna say, like, because the Steelers had Chase Claypool for a while, right?
Yeah, he had a really strong rookie year, and then he just got really frustrating. He got really inconsistent. Yeah, like he did that first down on the fourth down marker, on like the fourth down line, and it just it got rough. Top 3 wide receiver in the league when he wasn't even top 3 in his division. It's just like, dude, what are you doing? He's frustrating because he has talent, but he just doesn't realize it. And the moment I saw he got traded to Chicago, my jaw dropped. It's like, we got a 2nd-round pick for that guy?
Right.
And it turned out to be as much of a disaster as I thought it was going to be, which is, I mean, I thought actually it was even worse. I didn't think he'd be cut this soon, but whatever.
So the Bears fan is back again. They're probably going to be in chat with us all night.
Yep.
They said, but no, I 100% agree. No excuses for sure. This is a solid roster, the likes of which we haven't had since 2005 or so.
I think the main thing too, it's what about Eberflus? I know like Bears fans are like really hot and cold on the guy, but if he doesn't pan out, I think he gets yanked pretty early.
Yeah, that's a true point.
Say if they start 1-5, it could be fired mid-season.
Oh, dude, he's instant yank. If you're 1-5, you are pretty much burning Chicago to the ground.
Yeah.
Like you're going back to the 1860s with that shit.
So, Tree, a lot of my friends I posted this earlier. They wanted to know your opinion about Justin Fields versus Russell Wilson.
I think the thing is Russell Wilson's going to be your starter. Justin Fields is more or less – I've never been a Fields fan for the most part because I feel like he's had issues like reading defenses. Like he's very inconsistent. And I know like he has flashes, but the problem is like there are a bunch of quarterbacks that show flashes. But like with the Steelers, I feel like it's an interesting deal because like if he doesn't pan out, whatever, you only gave up a 6th. And he does have use in an NFL roster, especially with his speed, his agility, and his deep ball. So I think like you could use him. They're actually rumored about using him on kick returns, which is hilarious.
Yeah. I was clearly about that. What's your opinion about that?
I mean, if it works out, it's interesting. But my question is, why'd you bring in Cordero Patterson?
Oh, right.
Because I know like they've had issues with kick return for a while. Like they've never had a really good special teams returner. They brought in like a couple veterans. Alan Rossum you had for a year didn't really work out. I mean, last year it was Anthony McFarland, Dree Archer they tried. He didn't work out. Godwin Igwe-Bikwe was their kick returner last year, the former Detroit Lion. So like it's just kind of there. And I think that's what they're trying to fix, especially with the new rules about special teams.
Right.
Yeah, that new kickoff format is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It's a modified XFL format from what I've been seeing, so it's could work, but they needed to do something. The problem is every kick was usually a touchback, so that's what they're trying to fix.
Yeah. So the Bears fan said, and regarding to Fields, do you maybe picture him taking on a role similar to Randall?
Maybe. I just don't know how he is receiving wise. I feel like a better like situation would probably be early Cordell Stewart when he was slash. He was slash quarterback, slash running back, slash wide receiver. I mean, I don't know how he's going to be a wide receiver, but he would be more of a quarterback running back. I mean, Cordell punted once. So I think he's going to be more like a Swiss Army knife type.
Okay.
I think that's what he's going to be.
Okay. What was your top favorite pick from the Steelers draft this year?
I mean, I liked a good chunk of the draft, to be honest with you. I think they went offensive line heavy. Interesting one to me would probably be Peyton Wilson, the inside linebacker out of, I believe, Arkansas. Okay. So I know that the real thing there is going to be, like, I mean, the reason why he fell is because he's without an ACL. Oh, but, I mean, with his production was like first round grade, I should say. And Hines Ward was also born without never had an ACL. So like apparently I found that earlier. I didn't realize the story on Clickbait said like he tore his knee, but they never bothered to repair his ACL.
What?
So it's
Wow. Interesting.
It's a strange story, but I mean players can make it without an ACL. More or less, I'm interested to see how it would work out there.
Yeah.
But as I said, like I like Zach Frazier, the center of West Virginia. I was more of a Jackson Powers Johnson guy, but he was gone by that point. Fatanu, I mean, he's interesting because like I feel like you did need a tackle as well. Roman Wilson could be an interesting slot guy as well there. I wonder if they're going to get like a veteran. I know they're rumored to be getting someone like a Cortland Sutton or a DK Metcalf, so I don't think they're truly done yet. But I think it's more or less just trying to get a feel for what's going on there. I mean, I like what they've been doing.
Okay. Interesting. Justin, do you have any questions? I have one more, but there are a couple more.
So, do you have any? Are the expectations higher for this season because of the upgraded quarterback room?
I don't think so. I think it's relatively the same. I mean, most of the time it's you just like your first round exit. You're trying to break out of that. But my issue was at the end of last season, I was afraid that they were going to stay on their laurels and get content. But they've actually been pretty aggressive in trying to fix holes, which has been wide receiver, offensive line, and quarterback. And I mean, I wish we could have kept Kenny Pickett. I mean, I'm a Pitt fan, so I'm biased. But I mean, they're doing what I wanted them to do. So I can't complain.
Other than the Arthur Smith thing.
Yeah, Arthur Smith, I'm not a fan of. I mean, the reason why I feel like they went after Russell Wilson too is because like he thrives in the play action, and Arthur Smith does a lot of play action, especially to his tight ends. So I think there's going to be a lot of that going on. They're going to try and pound the rock. I think like with Najee Harris's fifth-year option being declined, that's try to figure out what happens there. But it's like with running backs, they're very like short shelf life. And it's just like it stings because I was never a fan of that 2021 draft because with Najee, I was never against the player. My question was who's blocking for him?
Right.
And now you finally have guys that might block for him. He might be gone next year. So it's
right.
Pretty much has to start over at running back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you do have Jalen Warren, so you're okay there. Plus, you can find good running backs in the mid rounds anywhere. So I think you should be okay there.
The Bears fan has a question. What do you think was the biggest reach in the draft?
Penix. I feel like with Penix, I mean, you could have had him late first round. As I said, my jaw dropped like that when I was just looking up and doing the reaction. I'm just sitting there like stunned for 10 seconds straight just because like they had huge needs at edge rusher. You had Dallas Turner and Laiatu Latu right there.
Right.
And you pick a quarterback when you just gave a quarterback $100 million guaranteed. And I know they're going to argue about Jordan Love and the Jordan Love model. But here's the thing. Jordan Love was 20. He had issues, but he was 20. It was a late first-round pick. Michael Penix is a top 10 pick. He's 24 and has an injury history. They're not the same. So
Plus,
Penix,
sorry.
Go ahead.
You continue. I was thinking about Kirk Cousins still recovering from the Achilles thing.
Yeah, I think that too. But I mean, why would you sign him to $100 million guaranteed? That's the question. He's going to be your starter for the next year or two, barring injury.
Sorry for interrupting you.
It's all right. I mean, the thing was like Terry Fontenot is trying to hit this like swing for the fences, and if he whiffs, that's going to cost him his job.
Right. So you mentioned Jordan Love. When do you think that contract is going to get done?
Well, I know he's eligible after this year. I think the question is, does he want to try and add a little bit more to his value? Because I know at least right now you're probably paying him $45-50 million. Do you think he gets another year, adds 60, then does the franchise tag and then extends? Or do you think he does it this offseason?
Well, I think it's rumored to be this offseason, like when they come back from training camp.
I
think he gets done before training camp.
Potentially. I think that too. I think he'll get at least like $50 million. I think you'll get a decent number there. And it's a bargain in terms of NFL terms. You do it for about 2 or 3 years, get a bridge deal, extend him again another year or two. If he pans out, there you go. I think that's how you do it.
So what do you think about the Michael Pratt kid that the Packers brought in as their quarterback this year in the draft?
I think he's more or less an insurance policy, backup depth. You never know what's going to happen to a quarterback. I mean, look at someone like a Brock Purdy. They didn't expect him to start. Right. I mean, Trey Lance goes down, Jimmy G goes down. Brock Purdy's your future starter. So it's worth taking a shot in the dark there sometimes, even just for purposes of depth.
Right, even though we have a backup named Sean Clifford, who is supposed to be like a Matt Flynn today?
Nah, Sean Clifford, he wasn't that big at Penn State. He was just like,
Okay.
like
Okay.
Penn State fans will get into a huge argument about that. I don't know if he's your Matt Flynn, but I mean, third string quarterback, you bring in a guy, could be something, more than likely not. But it's, as I said, it's a shot in the dark.
So you think he's like our third string quarterback?
Well, third string this year. Because
Right.
as I said, you have Jordan, you have Sean Clifford. It's more insurance policy.
Yeah.
So if your late round quarterback is starting that late in the draft, or like his rookie year, like a Tristan Thompson for Miami last year, Brock Purdy, something's gone terribly wrong.
Right. Speaking of Penn State, Kalen King, why did he drop so far? I heard he had a bad season, but to the 7th round, really? What?
Keelan King.
Yeah, the cornerback.
Well, Kalen King, the corner. I think the thing too, it's like he must have had a bad combine or senior day. That could also be it, or it could be an injury history.
Right.
I think that's.
Yeah.
So, I think that too. Like, I mean, as I said, it could be a steal for you guys, or it just could be something there. I know, like Corey Trice was a cornerback, like they saw drop really far last year for the Steelers. His issue was injury concerns, and he suffered a season-ending injury in training camp. So that's what you got to look out for. Sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. But
right.
I'm hoping for less season-ending injuries for Green Bay. The new strength and conditioning coach Aaron Hill from San Francisco, and I saw a post that was a stretching session until 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And hopefully that does better in terms of like limiting the hamstring stuff and the ACLs and
hamstrings are so finicky. That's the problem. I mean, even like for me weeding, bending down, they're still sore for a couple days just because of just how finicky they are. And I have relatively sturdy hamstrings. It's just hamstrings, shoulders, very finicky muscles, and they're just very hard to develop, and they can crack at like the blink of an eye. Same as elbows.
Right.
But I think too that with the strength and conditioning coach, it's more or less just maintaining their health. And with a season-long grind, you just have to make sure their bodies are in peak condition or as best as possibly can, because you're always going to have those bumps, those wears and tears, especially during a whole season. My concern, too, is with Jair Alexander, because he's been banged up the last couple of years. Do you think he gets back to a peak form again, or is it going to be next man up?
I kind of think he's going to be back to form. Maybe I guess part of the frustration was also with Joe Barry as our defensive coordinator, but thanks to Jeff Hafley being hired, I think everyone's going to have a fire, their dog in their bodies, and I'm hoping that everyone has an attack mentality on the defense, from starters to the bench warmer. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm excited.
Yeah, Vanilla Joe Barry was very uninspiring. A very popular target of derision in Green Bay, if I say so myself.
Yeah, it was frustrating last year.
It was frustrating. So with the changing of 4-3 defense too, it used to be.
Ooh, you changed it to a 4-3. Interesting. So
or no 3-4.
A 3-4. Okay.
Wait.
So you're rolling with one inside linebacker, like the Steeler model. So, I mean, you do have two defensive tackles, I believe, right?
I don't know. Justin, is it 4-3 or 3-4? I can't remember.
I saw it's 4-3.
Okay.
Four people on the defensive line would be.
Yeah, 4 defensive line, 3 linebackers.
Yeah.
Would be Kenny Clark and Carl Brooks, maybe.
All right.
So that's what I figured.
What are your
and then
thoughts on
Rashawn and
4-3?
Lucas Van Ness on the edges.
Well, with the 4-3, you're trying to more or less prevent the run. You're trying to stop that more or less because you have the 2 edge rushers trying to stop that, 2 defensive interior trying to clog up the line. And I know with your coach out of Boston College, I think he ran a pretty heavy 4-3, if I remember correctly. So more or less, you're trying to just stop the run, bleed that, and keep a really strong inside linebacker that commands the defense, so to speak.
Yeah, I think Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper are going to be a great duo as long as they keep their heads in check.
Maybe, but Quay Walker has had his got to keep him in check.
Right.
Well, that was
I mean, you do have Lucas Van Ness and you do have Rashawn Gary, so those are probably going to be your defensive ends.
Right.
Well, I think Quay got his act together in 2023. 2022 is when he got those ejections in Buffalo.
Yep, the ejection in the last game.
Yep, the Lions. For sure. Javon Bullard from the Bulldogs. What are your thoughts about him for the second?
Javon Bullbucks?
Bullard. The Bulldog. Bullard?
Yep, Javon Bullard. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I mean, you're looking at defensive back. I mean, you needed secondary help. I mean, you did get Xavier McKinney. I'm not super familiar with the Packers draft, so forgive me. I more or less followed the Steelers draft per se.
You're right.
So I'm kind of Google searching right now. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't get picked by Philadelphia since he's a Georgia product.
Oh!
Philadelphia got Cooper DeJean from Iowa.
Yep.
Yeah.
White boy summer. I mean, they got Cooper DeJean, and they also got Quinion Marshall, I believe, too.
Right.
That's another one.
From Toledo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Philly was desperately needed secondary help. So, more or less, it's just like a guy to either be a foil for Xavier McKinney or eventually his replacement in a year or two. So, he's 21. He's young. More or less, just let him develop and go from there.
Yeah, I loved this. I loved Bullard's reaction to being drafted by Green Bay. I'm not going to repeat it here.
Yeah.
It was fantastic to say.
I'm a fucking Packer, right? Just
Yeah.
like that. I mean, I feel like that's how it always is. It's those years. It's that years of hard work and dedication, practicing, being in the weight room, the squat rack, hot 3 a days, 2 a days. Like it's just that culmination.
Yeah.
Savor every moment, not be that guy from Kansas City that screwed up.
Mm-hmm. Rasheed Rice.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well. I mean, it's alleged that he punched a cameraman, but I mean, with the car accident and the street racing, it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
So the Bears fan is in chat again. For the Steelers specifically, who do you think are the three most important players for success this year?
Three most important players for success. One is obviously Russell Wilson, because you need that quarterback, that central player. That has been a big issue for the Steelers. I mean, mostly with Matt Canada as well. So I would argue that if Russell Wilson at least plays to a low-end starter level, you should be okay because you have the running game to at least offset him. You do have George Pickens, who I'm hoping will maintain a breakout level, but he does have some hot and cold moments consistency-wise. I would say your second biggest piece would probably be Arthur Smith, just because the offensive deployments are going to be a huge role in how this offense does. Matt Canada was useless, especially as an offensive coordinator, and that's why a lot of people wanted him fired. And I am not an Arthur Smith fan. I have said this repeatedly. I thought he did terrible work in Atlanta, and I know a lot of people are going to say what he did in Tennessee, but he had King Henry running the ball. I mean, of course, that's going to make your passing game look a lot better, especially with the play action, because when you are able to do the play action, I mean, when you're threatened to run off to King Henry, you automatically have to stay honest. You can't immediately go back to the pass. You have to assume that, okay, King Henry's going to rumble. And I would say your third would probably be Patrick Queen, your inside linebacker that had just been signed to a big contract. The inside linebacker has been a huge issue for the Steelers since Ryan Shazier suffered a severe injury. I think you brought in Devin Bush. He was a massive flop. He tore his ACL after his second year. It just wasn't the same. You bring in a bunch of placeholders. You had Joe Schobert for a minute, Miles Jack, Landon Roberts, Quan Alexander, Cole Holcomb. You had to bring Miles Jack back. You had Jalen Smith. And like Miles Jack, last year, it was obvious that he was not in football shape. He wasn't the same as he was. So you had him, Eric Reed. You had a few other guys that were just off the scrap heap. It's like, whoa, it's crazy. Oh, you had Blake Martinez too, former Packer. He was there for a couple games. I'm like, whoa, Blake Martinez, shit.
I remember he got in trouble with Pokemon cards. So,
yep, he retired with Pokemon cards. They realized it was a massive scam. Like, oh crap, I'm going back to football.
Yeah.
I mean, Martinez was a solid player in terms of getting a lot of tackles, but the problem is that a lot of those tackles were after some yards gained by the running back.
Exactly. It's usually after a big reception, or he was a stat pattern, especially with tackles. Yeah. Usually when a linebacker is leading in tackles, that's a bad sign for your defense.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think about Xavier McKinney to the Packers? That's
I think it's a solid deal. I mean, it's an upgrade over Darnell Savage. I think you needed a leader on that defense. I think. Oh, I saw you move that. You didn't like the Darnell Savage comp, so I'm just going to leave it.
No, I moved my mom's tapestry a little bit.
Okay. I was wondering because I thought Darnell Savage was like, oh god, Darnell Savage, I have to hold it back.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I wish Savage the best of luck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's going to Jacksonville. He'll have a starting gig, so I think he'll be all right there. I know for.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, with McKinney, you're also getting a defensive leader, so I think the expectations are he's going to fill a role, be a leader on that defense. We're C, and I think if he can do that, I think he'll be fine.
See, one thing I told them on a different podcast, I don't remember which one anymore. All our former players are playing us this season.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, or former player or a former coach, like Barry, Dolphins. Packers play Dolphins this year.
Cowboys?
No.
No Cowboys, so no Mike McCarthy.
Oh, right.
Maybe in the playoffs.
This year. I meant the schedule. We don't play Cowboys.
You could beat them as a 7th seed again, so.
The Packers will much more than a 7th.
I'm just speaking in terms of generalities. I mean,
right.
I mean, we were all hoping like, oh, dude, what happens if the Packers beat the Cowboys? And then it actually happens like, oh, no, please. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
It was glorious.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. It was beautiful for 31 of 32 fan bases. Maybe 28 because you have to ignore the NFC Central North teams.
Right.
But they probably laughed at the Cowboys too.
Yeah.
I think those teams are like, oh crap, we're another franchise quarterback for Green Bay. It's like, yes for us, but
right.
I think that's how Chicago was, to be honest, because they were hoping for that jump for Justin Fields. It happened.
Yeah. Sorry, Bears fans, if you guys are watching. Peter and Med, if you guys are watching. Sorry. We did not say that to you.
No comment. I can see the comments below. It's like I don't blame you, Peter. You're not sorry at all.
Of all the former players that are going to be playing the Packers, the one that I'm looking forward to the least is Showtime. Aaron Jones went to the purple incarnation of Satan, and he's an enemy now.
Well, you also tried to cut his salary by 50% after cutting his salary the previous year.
Yeah,
so I'm not surprised. I mean, dude, you had the greatest running back tandem for about 40 minutes. It was beautiful.
I know.
Well, I thought he was going to take that hometown discount to stay with the Packers because he was a great team leader, and the city in the I don't know.
I mean, athletes' careers are short. He'll probably have a house in Green Bay permanently, but the issue too is once again, if you're in your 6th, 7th year of play, you had to take a pay cut before, and now they're asking you to take another 50% pay cut with all the injury risk. It's like, why don't I just go somewhere else and get my revenge and be able to play full time?
Yeah, true.
Right.
Yeah. But
the revenge part won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the Vikings. I mean, who's their starting quarterback? They have the rookie.
Well, they have Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy, so it's probably Sam Darnold short term.
Right, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting with Justin Jefferson, too. What is he going to do? Is he going to
they're trying to extend. I mean, if they can't extend Justin Jefferson, you might as well go full tank.
Yeah. Speaking of Packers running backs, Josh Jacobs, what do you think of that signing?
Really good signing. I like it because, with last year, I don't blame Josh Jacobs. I blame that the Raiders had no passing game and their offensive line was they were zoning in on the run. So they just focused in on Josh Jacobs. Like, what, are you going to make AOC throw footballs or Jimmy Garoppolo or, Brian Hoyer for one game? No. You're just going to sit there. It's like, oh, Josh Jacobs is probably going to run the ball and be a beast. So I'm just going to sit back. I'll keep my ears pinned and just wait for Josh Jacobs to do his thing. And that's what happened.
And he's been going up like an up and down scale. This year it should be the up one. So
I know, his 2022 he was a beast. So I think you're getting something pretty solid with Jacobs.
That's what people are looking at, especially with Rich Bisaccia. What do you think about him? Is he going to stay for one more year?
I would guess. I mean, he's still he's still your special teams coordinator. The problem is last year you still had special teams woes, especially with punting. I know like Keyshawn Nixon was a really strong piece, but your kicking game was just bad. Anders Carlson is I don't know if he's NFL caliber.
Okay. But do you think that was mostly the kicker or the long snapper or the punter though? Is the issue?
It's probably the kicker. Because like he was having issues like hitting like basic 40, 45-yard kicks.
Yeah.
Which I mean, the NFL you have to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like this isn't 1975 anymore.
And he also missed a few extra points.
Right,
Yep.
which did not help at all. So do you think Greg Joseph, the kicker that we brought in from the Vikings, do you think he's going to solve it?
Maybe. I mean, Greg Joseph was like, I find it weird because I remember he wasn't that good in Cleveland, and then he kept a regular role in Minnesota. Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw Florida scored. So I'm just seeing that right now. So sorry, I got distracted there. If you're not, that's why I'm looking off to the side here in case you're not noticing. I have Boston, Florida on my TV, so I'm kind of glancing at that and doing this. So.
You were talking about Greg Joseph.
Yep, with Greg Joseph, I think he'll be an improvement. He'll be able to kick. He kicks 50, 55 yards, especially game winner. So I think you'll at least get the like power part properly. Question is like I wouldn't call him upper tier. I call him solid, but I wouldn't call him like creme de la creme kicker. So that's going to be the situation that you have to just figure out there. I think he will be an upgrade, though.
Okay. We also did bring in a long snapper from Wisconsin Badgers, the Peter Bowden guy.
He'll probably be in a competition with training camp. So it could be just a safe salary because, like, your long snapper might be a veteran. It's like, look, we need to save a few bucks.
Do you think he's going to win it? Do you think Peter Bowden?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's for training camp to decide.
Right. And we have another punter, too. We have like 4 kickers, 2 punters, 2 long snappers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, most teams come in with 2 kickers and 2 punters in training camp, not just for reps, but, to get some tape in for a few guys. Because, I mean, most kickers, punters are pretty secure. But, I mean, hey, if you get an opportunity to go to training camp, even as a Steeler, like for a kicker, and you get a chance to say – Chris Boswell, I mean, if you do well, you'll always get a call in case he's injured. Like, hey, Jimmy, you want to come in and kick for a week or two? Be like, yeah, let's go. Right. It's familiarity with the system, familiarity with the long snappers, the placeholders. So there's a lot of that as well.
Yeah. Oh no. Chat, if you guys have one question for chat. We're supposed to do this more, Tree. I'm sorry. This is new too. Chat, what do you guys think the Steelers might do for the 11 people that are watching? Thank you. Thank you for the 10 that are watching on Mac, Twitter, and one that's on Facebook. What do you think the Steelers will do for their ranking? Trey, what about you?
I mean, your floor is 8-9, 9-8, 9-7. So probably about that. Maybe a chance to sneak into the playoffs. But as I said, I need to see how they do in the regular season before I really make a judgment.
Justin, what about you?
It is going to be a competitive AFC North again.
Oh, dude, it's going to be cutthroat. I mean, the thing with the Steelers last year was no Joe Burrow. Like, it hurt them in so many ways. Cincinnati, like, would have made a playoff spot otherwise. Mm-hmm. And then, like Cleveland had that really weird week 2 where Deshaun Watson played like shit. And that's why they lost the game. And, I mean, Baltimore, for whatever reason, they can't beat the Steelers. I don't get it. So I'm sitting there on like that first game they played, and I'm like, what the like? How is this team in the game? And I'm like, the Steelers are going to win. What the fuck? And I'm just like, okay.
Right.
I forgot to mention. Am I allowed to swear? I'm sorry if I.
No, it's okay.
I'm saying that.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have a filter. I swear. I thought clickbait would have fixed me, but it didn't.
Speaking of clickbait, what was your favorite punishment now? That we've
here's the problem. Apparently, I have to make an OnlyFans, but I am.
What?
Yeah, that was what. No, it's a couple weeks ago, but it's just like really. Oh God, I do not want to. I am trying to hold out as long as I can for that shit.
Well, Tom might be watching this episode.
Yeah, I'm. I know Tom has a couple punishments. I mean, one of his punishments was he had to eat osobuco and vegetarian chicken and a nice glass of wine. Yeah, some punishment. That was last week.
Oh my God. Okay, so what about Scooter? What was your favorite punishment from him?
Anytime where the Cowboys lost, it's just like, well, the thing is, like, that's not a shtick he puts on. He legitimately believes the Dallas Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. Like, that's just how he is.
Yeah. What about Pernas?
Perna? Ooh. I mean, probably the championship belt punishment.
I don't know. I think the Taylor Swift one was pretty good from you guys.
No Taylor Swift. I mean, you're biased because you're probably Swiftie, but
I'm not. It's the thing.
I'm surprised.
My Bears fan friend is in chat. If Burrow stays healthy, I think Steelers finish third, if not second. I think that Cleveland finishes last because I'm honestly not sold on the defense or offense.
I think the problem with Deshaun Watson is, like, he hasn't proven much. Like, he's coming off a major injury. You're stuck with him. Nick Chubb is coming off a major knee injury. Is he going to be back to what he was? And I love Nick Chubb. You brought in Jerry Jeudy and extended him, but the problem with Jerry Jeudy is that he was insanely inconsistent, which it's kind of a weird move. I mean, you're basing it more on, like, potential that he could be something. Still have Amari Cooper. David Njoku worked really well with Joe Flacco, but problem is, will he work well with Deshaun and Jameis Winston? I think with the Browns' offensive line staying healthy, I think that'll work out a lot too.
It's just up to the quarterbacks to avoid turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Who is it? The Bills. Oh my God.
The Bills.
Bills Texans trade.
With Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs. What do you think about him going to Texans?
There was always a bunch of rumors going around that Stephon Diggs was very upset with the Bills. You know, there were a lot of grumblings coming out in the preseason, and and I think what happened was, like, I think they got tired of him after, like, that deep ball that was pretty much a dime by Josh Allen, and Stephon Diggs can't catch it. It's like, dude, that's why they pay you. But I think with the Texans it shows that they're trying to make a deep push. I mean, you have Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs. That is a deadly wide receiver room. And you have John Mechie. So, like, I mean, with CJ Stroud, it's like, if you get that offensive line clicking, you might be a true Super Bowl contender if things work out the way you expect. And, like, Stroud doesn't get into a sophomore slump.
Right.
So, who do you think is going to be the best team in AFC and NFC this season?
Too early to tell for the most part, but I feel like your best team in the AFC, I mean, Kansas City until proven otherwise. I mean, even with some of, like, the retirements and issues, like, you can't really balance against them. NFC, it would probably be San Francisco or, I mean, Detroit maybe?
Yeah, I can see that. Detroit's going to be tough this year, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Question is, can they refine a lot of their issues, especially with, like, some of the aggressiveness? If they can hold that back, fix up their defense, especially their secondary, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and it's like, what Jordan Love are we going to see too is another thing. Like, are we going to see the first pair of Jordan Love or the game after the Steelers, like that game, like after that big?
Pre-October or post-October?
Yeah,
basically.
Yep.
And how is he going to look? His second year officially started. So,
everything's looking good right now on paper. It's just have to wait another few months for them to go on the field and see how they perform.
4 months.
That's the thing. A lot of people, like, it looks good on paper to begin with, and then you actually have to play the games, and there are some issues there. I know with the Steelers, like, Kenny Pickett looked really good in the preseason. He diced up Buffalo's starting defense, and then you get to the regular season, and it's flashes of brilliance, and then nothing. It's a strange quarterback because he looked like shit for about 85% of the game, and then he goes to a final quarter, final drive. He looks like John Elway. It is the strangest shit.
My issue with, like, the Packers offense has great talent, but I'm not sure how going to Brazil in week 1 is going to affect everything.
Yeah.
It's like that Brazil thing is kind of like, huh?
It's a week one game. The NFL's trying to go international. I think that's their main goal. Like they already have the North American audience. They're trying to go worldwide. I don't agree with it, but I mean, the NFL can pretty much shit in our faces and we would gladly eat it up. That's just how the NFL is.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's already been international with London and Germany. Now they're going to be in Brazil, and then next year it's going to be in
Madrid.
Spain.
Yep. And then a couple other games in Germany. They're probably going to go to Paris, Italy, probably a few other cities, Mexico City. They're going to go back to again. I mean, they'll probably be playing games in probably Middle East, UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, because I mean, that oil money, dude.
Yeah.
They will be going crazy with that. They'll play at night. Just to make sure.
I don't know. I feel like Costa Rica would be fun for the NFL.
Costa Rica wouldn't be. I mean, do they have a legitimate stadium though? That's the question. I mean, Puerto Rico, I mean, wouldn't be bad, but I mean, do they have the stadium for it? I mean, they're more of a baseball country, same as Costa Rica. I think with Brazil, you at least have the soccer output. Argentina would probably be an interesting one as well, because I mean, once again, you have the stadium capacity for it.
So there is a stadium in San Jose.
In Costa Rica, how many does it seat?
It says capacity for 35,000.
35,000. I don't know if that's going to be enough for the NFL. That's the issue.
Oh, it looks like a baseball.
Yeah, I mean, for baseball, it would be like.
It's a stadium. It's an actual stadium.
Yep. I mean, Estadio Azteca seats about like 60, 70,000. So
it's probably way too small.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That'd be fun.
I mean, it'd be interesting for like a preseason game, but I don't know if the NFL is going to do that for preseason.
Yeah. Chat, where do you guys, do you think we ever see an NFL game in Australia?
I could see it. I could see an NFL game in Australia, Japan. I mean, with the Tokyo Dome, South Korea, China. I mean, you have the stadium capacity for it. You'd probably be playing in Sydney or Melbourne.
Right.
But I think you could do it in Australia.
Yeah.
Like, there is a decent football base in Australia.
Mm-hmm. I remember the Packers did play a preseason game in Tokyo in about 97.
Mm-hmm.
So there is NFL stuff in Tokyo before.
Yep. I said you'd probably be playing in the Tokyo Dome. You'd probably just retrofit it for football instead of baseball.
Right. What do you think of the no green policy for Brazil, though, Tree? Because both teams wear green.
I think it's a rivalry thing. I mean, you pay them enough money, they'll bake it out. Because remember, you're not allowed to sell alcohol in Brazil for certain games. And then Budweiser was able to throw it in there, and like you were able to sell beer.
Yeah, it's
same as the Qatar and the UAE. Like, okay, you throw enough money around, you'll be able to get by it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a special thing where like the Packers could wear their all white alternates, and then the Eagles would wear their all black alternates for that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah, because the Packers can't wear their green alternate because it's green.
Because of the rivalry with Brazil, the Brazilian national team that plays there, which doesn't make sense because I mean this is completely unrelated to organizational football.
Right. I don't know. What about Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers? I know we're thinking
I mean, Chargers ponied up for the money. They needed a proven NFL coach, especially with how bad Staley did and Anthony Lynn, Mike McCoy. So I think like more or less that these next few years are going to be more of a retool / rebuild because, I mean, they have a lot of veterans on big contracts. I mean, J.C. Jackson, they're going to be eating that up for a bit. Keenan Allen's gone. I mean, you had to restructure Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. They might be gone soon. And I mean, the thing is, like, I'm surprised they took Joe Alt. I don't mind the pick. I thought they would have gone Brock Bowers or Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about Joe Barry to Dolphins as their linebacker / defensive coach?
Well, I mean, with linebacker coach, it's a downgrade. I mean, he's better as a positional coach, so I think he'll be all right there. That's the thing with like most like demotions to like say like a lesser role. Like, I mean, a coach going to a coordinator, like look at Todd Bowles, for example. Like Todd Bowles is a fantastic defensive coordinator. I don't like him as a head coach. I don't think he's that good. But once again, as a coordinator, one of the best in football. Same as like Dick LeBeau. He was not a good head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, fantastic.
Thank you to the 14 people that are watching on that. The one person that's watching on Facebook. Tree, is there anything else? Well, actually, never mind. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. What's up, Mary?
So, thanks for calling me that for once. So, one of my questions, we've had fun with this one in the past. So, not an NFL trophy, whatever role, competition, whatever it is. So like class clown, stuff like that. Like awards, I guess. When would it be that's not NFL that is in right now? That is in NFL right now. What do you think it would be? And who would win it for the Steelers?
In terms of like, repeat the question again.
So as if it was like reward, like class clown, like objective.
Oh, okay.
Who would it be? That's not in the NFL right now. So it can't be like coach of the year, comeback, like any of those. That's not in the NFL right now. Who would it be for the Steelers and why?
In terms of like class clown or something like that?
Like something like that. Yeah. It doesn't have to be like specific.
The question is like, you got to figure out like who would be that award. Like, would it be something like, would it be something negative? Would it be something positive? Would it be like?
It's up to you. It's up to you.
Biggest ass saver of the year? I don't know. That's the question.
People said for the sassiest player of the year for the Packers, Jair Alexander.
Probably like biggest diva. I would probably say, Because the problem is they've gotten rid of some of the divas. Like Deontay Johnson would be a diva. George Pickens has his diva moments. Right. I call it the Antonio Brown Diva Award, and the winner would probably be George Pickens right now because, Deontay's gone, so he ain't going to be around.
No, you guys don't have Maturius Adams. Never mind. I was going to say, what about him? Never mind. Where is – do you? I don't know anymore. Justin, what about for you? That's just so
there were during the draft, Roger Goodell was talking about potentially doing an 18-game schedule in the future, and I'm not sure. Like, we already have 17 games, and we're supposed to be about player safety. Yet they're trying to schedule an extra game so they can have a Super Bowl on President's Day weekend.
They're trying to push this even games. I figured the moment they wanted to do 17, I knew they were going to get an extra game on the schedule just so they can have an even amount of games. And how they're going to get that through is have another bye week for the players. So I think they can get away with a 20-week season. So that's how they're going to do it. They're not going to it's like, okay, we want to add an extra game, but we will make sure you get an extra bye week. And President's Day Super Bowl, I'm just like, I feel like they're kind of pushing it. They'll drop preseason games, I'm guessing. But I feel like, there's a time where it's like, I didn't think they really needed to change much. I think they were okay with a 16 playoff. They were okay with a 16-game schedule. But, it's that money, baby.
Yeah. What do you think about the NFL wearing Guardian caps, too, for the pool?
It depends. I feel like, does it really help that much? The question is the Guardian cap going to be able to have decals and logos? Or is it just going to be one big, gray sack?
Yeah.
Or at least the helmet colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter just talked about that.
They look like igloos to me.
I'm
sorry.
They look like those old American Gladiators helmets. Like, I feel like I need to do you would have the sticks and you start fighting each other on a plank. So I feel like it's going to happen.
I don't remember that show. That was before my time.
I was a little bit before my time too, but I remember bits and pieces of it when I was a kid. So they would have reruns on ESPN or something like that.
Yeah, Peter had a good point. Crazy thing, I can actually see them causing more injuries. So
you could, absolutely. I think what they're worried about too is like Joe Burrow, where he hits like a heavy helmet and breaks his finger. It's all about somebody got injured, we need to prevent it. Like same thing with the hip drop tackle. The question is it's a judgment call, and we know there's going to be a situation where it's going to be handled poorly or interpreted poorly, and it's going to cost the team a big win. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty. It's it's another judgment call when the league struggles with judgment calls. That's the problem.
Yeah, especially when they want a certain. I'm not sure if it's fixed per se, but I'm sure that the league wants the big market or wants the popular teams to win.
Well, I mean, I think every league wants the popular teams to win, but I think the thing too with the NFL, it's so like national that I feel like they could watch any team for the most part.
The Bears fan is playing with us, Trey, again.
Yeah, like playing against the Packers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's how it always goes. The Steelers will somehow benefit from it because of just bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like the taunting penalty a few years ago.
Okay.
That should be gone.
Yeah. Justin, do you have any more questions for Trey?
I think I'm good right now. I'm just looking forward to the season and just best of luck to both of our teams.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We should probably go into final thoughts. Trey, final thoughts.
Well, Steelers go Super Bowl. I'm going to raise my my towel. I'll have to do that for the first time this year. We can always bring out the delusions early because this is what the offseason's about. We wait a few months, we watch some baseball, we mow the lawn, and I'm watching playoff hockey right now, just sitting back and enjoying everything. So nothing wrong with that. Thank you guys for inviting me on once again. Mary and Justin, thank you once again. I hope to be on again in the future.
You're welcome back anytime. You should know that. Come on, Trey. You should know that. Justin, you?
Just thanks Tree for being on the show with us, and good thing the Packers and Steelers don't play each other this year. Would be,
dude, me and Tom would be streaming again. So it would be the streets would demand it. Yep, next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
next year at Lambeau, right?
Yeah.
No, it would be at Heinz Field again.
Really?
2021
was last year was at Heinz.
Yeah, last year was at
Heinz. It was a special 17th game thing.
True.
Peter said, "Don't even get me started on that one." Oh, we had.
I mean, the Bears should have won that game.
Yeah. I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. During that game, I was nervous. Okay. For me, final thoughts. Thank you, Tree, again for coming on. Oh, we'll do this next because I always do this out of order now. Thank you so much, Tree, for coming on. You can always DM us whenever you want to come on.
Absolutely.
I just realized we started you with season 1, and now we're here with season 2 of the podcast.
Rock on.
And it's not even 6 months. We're not even 6 months old yet.
Hey, that's the way it goes.
Like I said, we're working on our way.
Just keep grinding. That's all you can do.
We appreciate that. We're on our way, or one of us is going to get monetized soon from the network.
Hey, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Where can people find you, and what do you guys have coming up?
Well, I can be found on Urinating Tree on YouTube, Urinating Tree on Twitter, Urinating_Tree on Instagram. Don't really post on there that much, unfortunately. But I know for coming out soon, I'm working on the NHL season debriefing. That should be out in a few days.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to mention clickbait for tomorrow.
Well, Clickbait Sports, I'm not sure if we're doing it this week because I'm not sure if anything's going on with Tom and that sort. Because off season's usually relatively quiet. So.
Really? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Do you guys already do all your draft shows, I'm assuming?
Well, I know the draft show we did last week, we did a grading, but I'm trying to figure out what we do this week. Because I know, I could talk hockey all day, but the other guys don't really know hockey. Like, the only one who kind of knows hockey's 5, but that's about it.
I mean, baseball.
Yeah, baseball, but the problem is, the only ones who really follow baseball are me and 5.
Oh, yeah.
Tom doesn't really follow baseball. Brandon doesn't really follow baseball. Scooter doesn't really follow baseball.
Didn't Tom just go to a hockey match last night?
Yep, he went to the Rangers and Hurricanes game, front row. That was a good game. Wow.
Yeah, he can talk about wrestling too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. The problem is I don't know anything about wrestling. I haven't followed wrestling in 20 years.
Justin, where can people find you, and what do you have coming?
Well, you see right there is my username on Twitter/X, Justin_Amandro, AMANDRO, and you can find me as the co-host of this podcast for the foreseeable future, and we're just continuing to grow and just looking forward to the season ahead.
Yes,
absolutely.
I keep forgetting about this banner. It's so much fun now that we're a new network. It's This was all
Nice.
the tree was done by a Bears fan. All of it.
Nice.
Freaking love it.
Very nice.
You can find no, to hide it. Dang it. Hide it. You can find me personally at Mary90118710. And like I did tell Trey earlier, we can officially announce this even though I have it before. Tom Grossi is going to be coming on in July.
Good. Well done. You got to cook his brain about that international tour.
I think we're going to be the first podcast to talk to him about it, actually.
Nice.
But what are your thoughts about it, Tree?
I mean, that dude is an animal when it comes to his work ethic. I am jealous of the ability of how he pushes videos out that quickly. It's like, why can't I do that? That's my issue. But I'm proud of the dude, and I'm so like happy with what he's been doing.
Yeah. What was your? I didn't realize we didn't touch on this. What was your? I know I was all live. What was your reaction to Tom winning Fan of the Year? And
I mentioned this in Thanksgiving. Like, if he didn't win, we riot. We actually joined up with Brandon did a stream. We all joined up and just celebrated the success there. So, dude, I more than earned it. So, absolutely really happy for that dude.
All of Mac and Cheese was rating Perna that night.
Good. There you go.
Justin, what was your thoughts about? I know we kind of talked about it.
I was happy as heck. I was watching the NFL honors on my TV, and when I saw Tom Grossi's name, it's like yeah, pretty much woohoo and all that stuff. I'm just glad that he won. It was a no-brainer. We all voted for him on the NFL thing, and it was just great to see him on stage. And then I saw his video about the whole experience on his YouTube page. Even though he got sick after that.
Yep.
Poor Tom. And then he got sick supposedly gotten sick at the Super Bowl as well.
He got COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had COVID a couple months ago. It was
I heard about that. Yeah.
It was fun. It felt like a mild flu. Like it felt like, like you're cold. You felt all sorts, very achy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had a headache, like kind of throbbing there, but it's just like, that was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Even from a Bears fan, that was well deserved, and the willingness he had to do it for charity is awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
All I have to say, if he does it again, Tom, please don't hurt your back. That hurt me.
As long as he doesn't jump through a table again, he should be okay. I remember when I went to hug him in Pittsburgh, and it's like, oh crap! Oh right, I forgot about the back.
Right.
Sorry.
I'm sure he appreciated that. And it's almost coming on a year from when he started it, believe it or not, guys.
Yep.
Mac and cheese is going to be, I should probably say the rest of it before I get in trouble by the crew. So, podcast voice, or Isaac, he said, hi, Isaac. Hi, Isaac, if you're watching.
How you doing, Isaac?
Isaac runs Podcast Voice Fun Football. He actually wants you on. I can DM you about that later.
Nice, definitely.
He has he's getting to 1,000 subscribers. He has almost to 500. I know you are like one of his top guests that he wants on your show or his show.
Nice.
So I can let you know about that. We were actually, so I mentioned you guys on his first show because I had explained like who Clickbait was on his first show because he did not know about it. So I did my best. Oh man, I did my best. I promise. I did you guys justice. But yeah. Chat, do you guys have anything else for your inventory?
No, I'm good, man.
No, I was asking my chat.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you for the 23 people that are watching. This is our most recent stream.
Nice.
Besides for draft, we almost had like 80 people the day too, I think.
I mean, dude, draft it's bonkers, man.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of people streaming it too.
Definitely.
Here, I'm just gonna play the outro, and then Tree, I'll send you Isaac's DM or whatever.
Absolutely, definitely.
He's actually on break. He's a teacher, like Tom used to be.
Nice.
So he's taking off. Yeah, he deserves it.
Very nice.
Okay. I got this. Isaac, I know you just messaged me. Isaac said great job. So we did an amazing job. He's
Excellent.
he's the co-host of this network that we're on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm,
All right.